In the great chain of being, there is a hierarchy. God comes first, then angels, then human beings, then animals, then lower creatures. Now what is the proposition? The proposition is who have been placed between animals at the lower end, angels at the upper end. The suggestion being, like animals, all of us will begin in ignorance and we try to learn. And we want to rival the angels in knowledge in the end. Just like Vishwamitra Vasishtha, with their knowledge they could enter heaven in the bodily form. Because God need not learn, God knows everything. Angels need not learn, they know everything. We have to learn. So we begin in ignorance and we end up in knowledge if you try. The choice is between us. If you want, you can become a devil. If you want, you can become a god. And that too after a good deal of labor toil for so many years. You understand? It takes very easy. It is very easy. It takes a little time to go down in life, to go astray. But to be upright, to be just, every minute you have to give a test. In other words, this is the metaphorical meaning. Human beings are always in the process of becoming. You understand? This is inherent in human nature. That is the Eastern theory, the Western theory, that is the life. So becoming is the part of the human existence. So always everybody is evolving. Nobody is great from the mother's womb. Everybody is becoming. Everybody is trying to evolve in the process. Now this is, by the way, introducing you to the topic of this international seminar, and which is very hard. All the time we are trying to become and to become somebody in our life. It is, it is very easy to say things, preach things, very difficult to practice it. Now, unless you practice what you say, it is meaningless. Or what you would do, I'll just give an anecdote and say, sometimes we teachers, because we are all teachers, we say, we see the students are bad, good, this and they don't do this. We forget that we are seen by the students also. And when you see the student, they see what you do. What is your integrity and what is your personality and how do you perform. Now I will again borrow a statement from Warren Buffett. And from this corporate world. Warren Buffett says, if you want to know a person, you look for three things in a person in order to judge a person. These three things in a person are integrity, intelligence and energy. If the person doesn't have the first one, you need not look for the next two. Understand? If the person doesn't have the first one, integrity, you need not look for the next two, intelligence and energy. You need not look for that. So that is very important. The process of your becoming is always a process. It's happening to us. This is biologically and in the process integral. We can't change this. Now the next question is, now my topic of lecture which I am giving you also. Now Yeats and Eliot, what happened? Now this is again a paradox. Both Yeats and Eliot, they came outside the English tradition. Eliot came from United States of America and W. Yeats came from Ireland. Edmund Blundell, when he compiled an anthology, he excluded both Eliot and Yeats from that anthology of modern English poets. If Eliot and Yeats will not be there, there is no modern English poetry. Now what happened? These two, they define English poetry. And these two have come outside the British tradition. And they have formed the tradition, both. Now, in other words, what? That Eliot in his essay, selected essay says that when you look up the world, there was a reference to Dante in the previous session, and to Shakespeare also. Harold Bloom said, and Eliot both agree in that, with the canon and also the kind of the primacy of this. Eliot said in the selected essay that Dante and Shakespeare, they divide the modern world between them, there is no third. And this Harold Bloom says in the Western canon, these two poets, Shakespeare and Dante, they define the Western canon. And strangeness and a kind of originality, these are the two words he uses. That Eliot, Shakespeare and Dante, they have strangeness and originality. In one case, strangeness is so absurd, you never know it is strange, that is Dante. The other is because question of originality, that is in Shakespeare. Now these are the things that you find that the Eliot made. Now the question is, now the general notion was, Eliot was considered as anti-romantic and he was not for love and a failure in love, and that is why they begin to quote love song of the Alfred Kufa like this. Now Harold Bloom has brought out the biocritic of T.S. Eliot. Now, biocritic of T.S. Eliot edited that shows Eliot was profoundly love poet. Now, I refer to the woman with whom he was in love. Now, what happened, again, this is a thing that you should remember. Eliot was working with a Lloyd Bank, he was a bank lord, and he would return in the evening and write poetry. Then his wife even said, Eliot, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are wasting your talent in a bank. What is the use of being famous, Eliot, after you are dead? Look at this wife's statement. What is the use of being famous after you are dead? Leave that job. Concentrate on this poetry. Now, these four women, one is Vivian, and the other was this Emily. Third was Mary. Fourth one his wife, that is this again Vivian preacher, his secretary whom he married. These four women were there in Eliot's life. But Vivian had married Eliot. He had one purpose. Eliot was intellectually very high. No other English poet even half learned as T.S. Eliot, because Eliot knew many languages. He knew Greek, Latin, French, Sanskrit. Original Sanskrit Bhagavad Gita he read in Sanskrit. So his learning is proverbial learning. If you read this crisis in English poetry, and there you can find that there are references to this. That when Eliot read this, I will come back to this. Eliot's learning was proverbial, a highly learned person. And then Vivian was deeply impressed by the scholarship of this person. He said that I will marry this man, he is a highly intellectual person. And after marrying Eliot, he found that it was very difficult to stimulate Eliot for love. And he went to this Bertrand Russell and said, what to do? He said, I married Eliot in order to stimulate him, but I failed to do so. So that was something, very, very disappointing. Then what happened that Eliot, that relationship was that Vivian was very upset. Vivian said that this man is not after love, and I tried my best, but this man has nothing to do with love. That's that. Then came Mary, this Emily Hill, and then Mary with whom he had acted in a film, in a show. And then came Helly, and then finally his secretary. Then one interesting thing is the parallel between Eliot and Yeats Alvin, both are poets of love. What happened? When Eliot found these four women are in love with him. One was Vivian, his wife. The other was Emily. Third was Mary, and the fourth was this the literature. The secretary whom he married just 8 years before his death. At the age of 68, he married his old secretary, who could have been his daughter, half his years, less than half of his years, got married. Very late, 1957, he got married. 65, he passed away. He said that it was very nice to have this kind of this marriage. It gives me happiness. Now look at this. Interesting thing comes here, that this Emily wrote 1,000 love. Eliot wrote 1,000 love letters to Emily. Try to understand this. 1,000, and these love letters are in Princeton University Press, that is in their archives now. And we can note that it should not be opened before 1st January 2020. 1,000 love letters written by T.S. Eliot to Emily, that is kept preserved in the Museum of Princeton University. And that will be opened with a note on the 1st January of 2020. This is the law. Now, you take W. Bates on the other hand. Now, W. Bates and love, this modern. His wife, Dorothy Hygilis, that was there. And then you find Lady Gregory, Isolde Dunn, Olivia Shakespeare. So, the W. Bates, I will use a term from deconstruction, I will say. This W. Bates' love with women is like a free play of signifiers. You understand? It's like a free play of signifiers. So many women are always in love with these people. Then what happened when he was only 23 years of age? 23 years of age. And at that time, O'Leary, because they were struggling for Ireland's independence, O'Leary sent a letter to John Butler Yeats, W.'s father. And this lady, Morgan, brought that letter to their house. Morgan was a paragon of beauty. W. saw Morgan, instantly fell in love with Morgan. And that is the love. Try to understand this. He said that, come what may, I will marry Morgan. And then Morgan refused, not only once, twice. And have married McBride, but the love still continues. Now, when this Richard Ellman was doing research, Richard Ellman wrote two significant books on W. Bates. One is the identity of W. Bates, the other was W. Bates, the man and the mask. When he was doing this, these Westerners are more honest than us Indians. Indians, we preach, we moralize. Westerners are not like this. Whatever they say, they preserve letters. When we write autobiography, Indians, we write good things about us, but when they write, they keep everything. So all the love letters written to WH and his letters to the ladies, everything is preserved. You understand? Everything is preserved. And then when he was doing research, he found in the drawer, there is a note. The note Morgan has written that this is a relationship which I could not fulfill. Then Richard Ellman said, what is this? He went to George Hagelis, WH's wife. He said, ma'am, I would like to ask you a question. That this is what Morgan has written. Your husband's love letters are there. Your husband was in love with many women, including Morgan, even after marriage. Then the wife said, they are very honest, I said. He said, since you know it, I will not deny it. Look at the wife said, since you know it, I will not deny it. I know this. My husband was in love with many women. And that time that Morgan has written, when they were staying together, they were lovers at that time. You understand this? They were staying together. Morgan spent many intimate moments together with WH without marrying. There was one reason for that. The reason was he wanted WH to become a great poet. And he wrote a line. The world would one day thank me for not marrying you. Go on writing me. That is the purpose why I didn't marry you. Had I married you, you would have ceased to be a poet. Because first-in-law gives good poetry. You understand? I wanted you to be a great poet, and the world will one day thank me for not marrying you. Deliberately, I have not married you. You understand? That is the reason. But they lived together. And then when B. Rajan wrote a book, he said, he wrote this, Morgan is like Helen, beyond praise or blame. WH never said a word against Morgan. Refusing twice, resort gone refusing. That is a very puzzling relationship you can find. That how can a woman who refused him twice and never married the man never said a word about the woman? They never married, but they are more than man and wife, always living together. They are in deep love with each other. You understand? And the purpose was this. Morgan said, I wanted this. I wanted you to become a great poet. That is the love. You understand this? So both of them, both Morgan and Eliot were love poets. And remember, I told you before Professor Roy came, I said this. Eliot wrote 1,000 love letters to Emily, and that is preserved. You understand? And that will be open on the 1st January 2020. And people said he was not romantic. Then who was romantic? Writing 1,000 love letters to a woman. Is he not romantic? Classic. There is a statement that is profoundly romantic. It's bound to be romantic. So that is the research. The research was this. So both were profoundly poet of love. That's it. Poet of love. They have this kind of relationship. Why? Because in literature there are three permanent things. The three permanent things are love, death, and time. You understand? Other things come and go, and our perceptions of love changes, different kinds of poetry you get. Our perception of time changes, then you write different kind of poetry. And our perception of death changes, just like John Donne saying, death thou shalt die. So our perception. So love, death, and time are permanent things of literature in whatever form, time. So we go on changing, and they wrote on this. So both were essentially poets of love, and they wrote about love. Then the next point that is common to both of them is that both of them were myth makers. There are three ways in which a writer or a poet can make use of myth. The three ways are this. You can use archetypal myth, which is universal. For example, with the wind, there are four elements: air, water, fire, and earth. These are the four elements of which life is constituted. And one of these four elements is necessary for the consumption of the body after death. After we die, what happens? Either the body will be burnt, means fire, body will be buried, means earth, body will be thrown to water, means water, or if the dead body is not claimed, it will decompose in the air. Four elements which compose our life. One of them is necessary for the consumption of life. So these are the four elements. This is archetypal myth. In India, we have one thing, that is the fifth one, Panchabhut, fifth one, that is the sky, the father. Mother is just like this. But they say it is four elements like this because there is a fundamental difference between the Christian tradition and our tradition. In the Christian tradition, dead body is not consumed or destroyed, it is preserved. Dead body is preserved in a coffin in the burial ground of where? In the churchyard. You cannot take a dead body into the temple premises. But their dead body is preserved in a coffin. and they wait for the day of judgment. That is a different way. Dead body is not destroyed by the job. Understand this? For us, it is conjugated in this way. So this is one way. This is called archetypal myth. Understand? And I will come to this one. I will come to Eliot's Western, and I will say how they made use of this. One is archetypal myth. You can make use of archetypal myth, which is universal. Everybody knows this. The second one is national myth. National myth means who is the people of that country know, irrespective of religious differences. For example, when Gill was the Election Commission of India, he made a statement. He said, political parties should not cross the Lakshmana Rekha. Gill is a Sikh, not a Hindu. When you say this is Lakshmana Rekha, don't cross it, you are making a reference to the Ramayana. Every Indian, irrespective of religion, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, everybody understands this. This is ultimate warning because this is a national myth. National myth is intelligible to the people of the country, irrespective of the religious differences, because culture is always a unifying word. And religion, organized religion, is a divisive word. Religion, when it is organized, it does violence to another religion like this. But culture always unites people. Look at what happened to Bangladesh and Pakistan in 1971. 90% of the population, they were all Muslims. How is that they could not stay together? Because Bangladesh is a predominantly Bengali culture. And Tagore song is the national song, and the other is Islamic culture. There are cultural differences. Religion is the same. Understand? So culture is always a unifying factor. Understand? Culture is always, and irrespective of your religious differences, we belong to this. It's a cosmopolitan, multicultural country, India. We share the culture. The culture is the same. Not only now, all Indians, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, we touch our elders' feet. We seek their presence, irrespective of religious differences. Because this is the culture. The culture of the land, and that is why the national myth is based on culture of the land, and which is a composite multicultural country. This is common to all of us. It's common to all of us, irrespective of our religion. So the national myth, one is archetypal myth. You can make use of archetypal myth. You can make use of, this is national myth. You can create personal myth. Now personal myth is this. Now look at W.H. second coming, for example. Second coming said in every 2000 years, a cycle of civilization will come to an end, a new cycle will be born, and a new Jesus Christ will be born. That Jesus Christ will be not a benevolent one, but a malevolent one, and sloping towards whichever one to be born with the head of a lion and the body of a man. So 2000 years have passed. Is there any new cycle of civilization? Nothing. That was his own view of it. He thought that in every 2000 years there will be a new cycle of civilization, another. This is a personal myth that which he has created. Understand? So a writer has every right to create a personal myth. Understand? Both Eliot and Yeats, they have created a personal myth. Now look at this. When you look at the two major points, Professor, how many minutes I have at my disposal? That's okay. So 45 minutes or 1 hour, whatever you just tell me, I will stick to that. Now, what happened is this, look at the Westland. There are references to Westland, he made references to Westland, references are there. Which is the longest section? The fire sermon. Fire sermon is referred to what? Buddhist religion. Who is writing that? A Christian. And that too, Anglo-Catholic. And I will tell you one thing about Eliot, which our students of literature, all of you should know. When I edited a book on 15 eminent teachers of English, I quoted that and said, we Indians, we say our guru, our teachers. Look at Eliot. And the essay is that to criticize the critic. To criticize the critic, he wrote that when I changed my religion in 1927, there was severe criticism because I changed from Protestantism to Anglo-Catholicism. There was severe criticism. He said at that time, Arvin Babbitt, his teacher, he was there in the town. So he invited Arvin Babbitt and Mrs. Babbitt to his house to dinner and said, sir, there is severe criticism, and then what should I do? Arvin Babbitt only said 3 words, Eliot, come into open. Then next he made a statement, I am classicist in literature, royalist in politics, Anglo-Catholic in religion. After next sentence he said, I am a disciple of Arvin Babbitt. So he is the guru. We Indians say guru only words. A person of Eliot's sophistication saying I am a disciple of Arvin Babbitt. Can you imagine this? So that is scholarship. That is scholarship. The people who understand this, a teacher can mold your life, entirely change your life, provided you understand this, the teacher is worth the salt. Understand? He says, with his advice, I made the statement and the whole thing subsided. Now, when he made this kind of statement, so there was again everything subsided. Everything subsided. He said that, and look at this. So when Cecil goes, that is the first of its kind and the only significant literary debate I find between two professors of English in India on a major poem of Eliot, that the Westland. So he denounced everything. Denounced, he said, these lines are borrowed, these lines are borrowed, the best lines are on the female voices. This is what Cecil goes one by one said. And finally said, however, it is not easy to bid goodbye to a poem of one's youth ended like this. That is why Westland revisited the title. That Sidi Narasimha replied, Sidi Narasimha told me personally. He said, because what happened, that when they approached me, then I was hesitant what to do. Then I said, should I enter into a debate? Then I said, I have an advantage. I am going to enter into a debate with a friend of 30 years standing. There will be no misunderstanding. Remember this. Cecil Ghosh is a friend for the last 30 years. If I enter into a debate in 30 years standing, there will be no misunderstanding. All of you should remember one thing, if two persons are on the same profession and they always agree, then one of them is useless, concept. If they always differ, then both of them are useless. Remember this. So this is a significant statement, remember. So what happened? He replied. He said, I have taught Westland for donkey number of years. I want to learn any new thing said by anybody in the world, said Narasimha. Then one by one he put it. He said, when F.L. said the poem doesn't show any progression, it begins, it ends where it begins. Then he said, look at that poem. The whole map of London is there in that poem. It begins in London, London road map. From London it went to Rome, to Venetian, and then to other countries, finally to India. And what the founder said, if you can follow the poem, then you can know what the poem is. The poem shows movement in time and place. You understand? And that is there, all geographical locations in the poem. Said that is there on the map of London, everything. Eliot showed. So when Eliot wrote this thing, then he replied one by one to all these points and said that it is not that this poem Eliot has borrowed. Eliot has understood what it is. He has assimilated a culture and a tradition. What happened, Eliot made another significant statement. Now remember Macaulay's statement always you quote that said, a good book of good shelf of European library equals to all the wealth of India and Arab. The Arabans, he said, without knowing anything about Sanskrit. Eliot said, forget about the library. If by chance in this world, all the books are destroyed, only two books are saved. What are the two books? Dante's Divine Comedy and the Bhagavad Gita. Nothing is lost. And he said, Bhagavad Gita is the second best philosophical poem in the world, the first place having been given to Dante's Divine Comedy. This is Eliot. Understand this? He says, if everything in the world is destroyed, only these two poems are saved, nothing is lost. Understand this? So that is Eliot's scholarship. Eliot understood this. So in the Westland, he had shown that Indian tradition, David's story, Indian Upanishad, all these things are assimilated. When he came to four quarters, he came to Mahabharata. When he came to four quarters, and he refers to Mahabharata, and then in the section, it tries on his place, and in the East Local, he says, if that is what Lord Krishna meant, and then he says, and what it was admonishing Arjuna, then look at the very simple lines. Each line is poetical. Eliot, each line, very simple line. So they're like profoundly poetical. Eliot, use of creative language in Eliot, in the four quarters. In the four quarters, he said that for us that is only the trying. The rest is not our business. Understand this? For us human beings, that is only the trying. The rest is not our business. Look at the 8th canto of the Bhagavad Gita. In the 8th canto of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, therefore Arjuna at all times, without interruption, think of me alone and fight. Offering thy mind and reason to me, thou shalt come to me. Look at the significant statement. So you are a warrior, you have to do your job. All times, without interruption, think of me alone and fight. That is your dharma. Offering thy mind and reason to me, thou shalt come to me. Now that Eliot in a very two significant lines summed up the entire message. For us there is only the trying, the rest is not our business. So then apart from that, the kind of paradoxical lines that he said. Now we come to the element, fire element. The fire element is this. Both Yeats and Eliot, you have read all the selling to Byzantium, O gods, O sages standing by the gods' holy fire. The fire is positive fire, that always said. All of us we born in our person, that fire is negative. And then we also born in fire which purifies us of all our passion, that is positive, the said fire. That is there in the selling to Byzantium, that is what Eliot says in the closing lines of the four quarters. When the tongues of flame are inflated into the crown knot of fire, the fire and the rose are one. The Christian symbol of rose and the Buddhist symbol of fire, they are ultimately one. Ultimately, all religion is one religion. All one. So that was Eliot. You understand this? So there you understand. Assimilated what? This is intertextuality. You understand? This is intertextuality at its highest. That Eliot has taken both these master texts, Westland and Four Quarters. They are taken, they have lines borrowed, messages borrowed from the Indian text. And now a person, you read Jawaharlal Nehuru's autobiography and also Discovery of India. He said this is the greatest book. Mahabharata is one of the greatest book in the world. Unfortunately, we read it as a Hindu text, nothing like this. So that is one of the greatest book. Why one of the greatest book in the world? Anything that you want, for any answer you seek, that is there in the Mahabharata. Whatever you want, you get in the Mahabharata. I'll just give one instant. And about canonical text in the title I told you. Harold Bloom says canonical text is this, the text which is forever contemporary. Great poetry is always contemporary. That is the definition. Simple definition for a layman. What is great poetry? Great poetry is always contemporary and has the quality of memorableness about it. That is great poetry. Now, so when you look at this, the Mahabharata, you find, look at the answer. I just made reference to only one scene. Now, when the last Mahabharata war is won, Mahabharata war is won, Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows. And 5 Pandava brothers, they have won the war. And Lord Krishna took these 5 brothers to him and then requested him, Pitama, you please advise these Pandavas how to rule. Then, do you know what Bhishma said? You are the Lord of the universe. You are with them, you have all knowledge, you know everything. When you are with them, what is the use for me to advise them? Look at Bhishma's answer. Now, this is what Eliot says in Four Quarters and also indirectly in the Westland. He said, yes, I have the knowledge, but I don't have the experience. You have the experience. Why such a great man have fallen like you? Now, he said, I have committed only one blunder in my life. That blunder is, I placed an individual above the country. I gave a word to my father that whosoever will sit in the throne of Hastinapur, I will see your image in that, I will protect the king. I should have said, I will protect Hastinapur. Had I said this, Draupadi would not have been humiliated and Dhritarashtra would not have divided the kingdom. I made a mistake, I would not go against the king. I placed an individual above the country. As a result of which everything happened. That is the only mistake I did in my life. For which I am lying on the bed of this. Now, experience matters. Knowledge is not everything. Knowledge you know. Experience of felt in the pulses. So that is there in the Mahabharata. Understand this? All the diplomacy that you see, that was there with Krishna and everyone, all diplomacies are there. Diplomacies are there and they have distinguished between the personal and the impersonal. Eliot had taken all these things and these two texts, two great texts. There are references to both and this Four Quarters and also to Four Quarters and Westland to Mahabharata and all these stories are there. After that, what happens? So they have found this major symbols, both of them, they have the symbols. Now I will refer to Leda and the Swan. Look at this. Leda and the Swan, all of you have read. And Veerajan is the most significant comment. Nobody has done better than Veerajan. Veerajan said that is a poem, the Leda and the Swan. There is a break in the, daring break in the 11th line, otherwise it would not be a sonnet. 13 line and a half, you understand this? So that is why it's a break in the 11th line. So it becomes a sonnet. Here whatever, you have history, myth and vision. These three things are there, history, myth and vision. Now what is this? Helen was born. You understand? Helen was born and then Leda, out of the union of the Leda and the Swan. That means the unnatural union between a divine and a human. The parallels you find hundreds in Indian myths. I don't understand what happens to Indra. With so many apsaras in this heaven, he always eyes for human woman. Indra is always after for human woman, coming for Ahalya, coming for this and that. And that is exactly what happened when The Vishwamitra was doing tapasya. They said Menaka must go. Unless the tapasya is not broken, then Vishwamitra will conquer. When Menaka came, 35 years of tapasya broken in 35 minutes when the woman came before him. Now that is the kind of temptation that is being shown. That is the myth. You understand? So the myth is this. So they are also kind of leader on the soul, the myth out of which Helen was born. Krishna came to Bethlehem. So that myth you can find the Trojan War. Everything happened. It's a short poem. The entire history, myth and vision is there in that poem. Such a compact poem has not been written by anybody in the world. Nobody in the whole range of English literature. Eliot always excels in longer poems. Yeats excels in shorter poems. In shorter poems, Yeats always excels. And this poem is one of the most compact and unimprovable poems that B. Rajan has used, and very appropriately has used the word. This is one of the most unimprovable poems in the whole range of English literature. So that is the myth. So both of them, they have made use of myth. But both of them have made use of myth, and they made use of myth in their own way. Understand this? Because they were inside. And then both of them were enamored of Indian philosophy. And Indian philosophy, Eliot had said, and then Yeats was for Puraitism, and the Indian myth. So much enamored because Indians, we have our myth, knowledge. One thing remember, stories are the common property of mankind. Vishnu Sama and Pathasarita Saga, these stories, they have been stolen to the West. Stories always tell. Man is a storytelling animal. The stories used to be sold. So the stories that are there in the myths, Indian myth, this is the treasure of all the stories and all the myths which the West used to know. West, we begin to see ourselves in the eye, through the eyes of the West, because our tragedy, Indian tragedy is this: we have lost touch with the Sanskrit tradition. As a result of which, we don't know what is our significance. So, thank you, sir. Now conclude. So okay, I conclude. So this is the time the Indian. In our case, what happened? That we forget that there is a certain the norms were there. Our own tradition is there. We don't know ourselves. We are introduced to ourselves by Max Muller, our person. The foreigners will make us see about ourselves. That is most unfortunate thing, because we have lost touch with ourselves, and then that is why all kinds of misgivings are there. But the West, they could discover that we had many things, and all these things. And now, reader response, I'll take 3-4 minutes. Reader response criticism that we are talking of, the West, that saying. Didn't we have this in our this poetic saying? That means what? What is the criticism? What does the reader think about a particular text? How does a text affect the reader? That is the kind of thing. So that they wanted to show, and we say no, they are giving us gospel knowledge. The West is giving all gospel knowledge as if we don't know. Everything was there. We don't know ourselves. That is the most important. And then look at Derrida. I have written a voluminous book. The book is there, more than 500 pages on contextual literary criticism. There is not a single area of criticism on which I have not written. The entire contextual literary criticism. So they are saying, what does Derrida say? Indeterminants of meaning. Then no one can say last order literature. Didn't we say in the beginning? Literature, when you are chairing the session, you are telling that literature is not like mathematics, absolutely true. Because there are different ways, different approaches to a particular text. Because look at this. There are 3 things: scientific, natural science, physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology. They deal with the truth. You ask a single question in physics, mathematics. A single question has a definite answer, right or wrong. When you go to social science, the problem comes. Derrida have played upon that. What is social science? Social science is sociology, political science, economics. These are social sciences. In social science, the truth is relative. Try to understand this. You can say 10 points in favor of democracy, 10 points against this. 10 points in favor of liberalization of economy, 10 points against this. Yes or no? You can say 10 points about joint family system against this. Because the nature of subject is that. Social science, the truth being relative, you can argue for and against. If you ask the teacher, where are you? The teacher got a solid because the nature of subject is that. The relative, the social science, the truth is relative. Natural science, medicine, physics, engineering, the truth is absolute. Definite question has definite answer. Literature doesn't deal with the truth. it deals with the validity. The same thing can be explained in different in different ways. You understand? And if you look at the thing in a different way, then you can find different kind of answer. I am just giving it again a reference to the Mahabharata. Now look at this. Before the Mahabharata work Kunti and Gandhari, they went to Lord Shiva. They prayed to Lord Shiva, let my sons win. She said, and the other woman said, Shiva wasn't what to do. To bless one is to curse another. Then Shiva played a trick on both of them. He said, look at, I am asking you one question to Gandhari. Gandhari, you have 100 sons. They are all educated, Duryodhana and his brothers. And Kunti has 5 sons. A word from Kunti, even unwittingly, is law for her sons. Without saying, she said, if you have brought a thing, Draupadi after Swayamvar, and distribute among 5 brothers married. Whatever mother says is law for her sons. What about your sons? Why is it that your sons don't care a fig for you? He says that you give me some time, I can't answer that, I will ask Duryodhana this question. Then I am telling that how literature will have different things. So she went and asked Duryodhana this question. That this is what Lord Krishna asked. Why? He said, you are my mother. What kind of mother you are? You have given me birth. Have you nurtured me? Have you ever cared for me? Your husband is blind, you put blindfold. You have never seen me once in your life. Entire life you played only one role of that of a wife, not of a mother. And you call that you are a mother? What kind of mother you are? That is what I told you in the beginning of the lecture. We are grateful to the parents not for birth. It's an accident. Have the option of giving birth to other parents. You understand? But you are grateful to them for love and upbringing. You understand this? You never cared for us. Now, Gandhari, whom we called, everything is very good. And then the son said, no, you have not done well. You have played only one role in your life, not that of a mother. And how do you claim that I am a son? You are not what son? Biological birth will not claim a son. That is why Jasoda is more endearing to Lord Krishna than Devaki. You understand this? Not biological mother, that is literature. In literature, you can read the text from different angles. If you look at from one and get one, you can look at from another and get one. I will conclude by saying, making a reference to Akhir Rasta, Amitabh Bachchan's film. Remember this. When Amitabh Bachchan is playing a double role of the father and the son, and then there is a tussle between the father and the son. The son is a police officer and he is a convict. He wrote 6 and showed it to the son. Read from that side. What is it? 9 to you, 6 to me. So the same letter I have written. If you see from that side, it is 9. If I see from this side, it is 6. That is what literature. From your perspective, you see this is one meaning. From that perspective, you see this is another. That is literature. That is why no one can say last word on literature. What did Derrida say? Derrida said nothing. Understand this? Only jugglery of words. Saying that, putting all these instances, saying that finally indeterminates are meaning. No one can say last word, signified all this. Finally, it comes to what our forefathers said 1,000 years ago. So look within. You will find yourself, discover yourself. You will be somewhere. Thank you.
Any questions from anyone?
Yes, from me.
Yes, sir.